This week it is Eli Roth's Ice Cream Man. Is it a terrible movie? Is it utter shite? Or is it one semi-decent idea repeated for 86 painful minutes? Stick around to find out. Hello and welcome to Middle Age Geeks. I'm one of your hosts, Daz. That is Phil. And this week we are reviewing Eli Roth's Ice Cream Man, which he directed and co-wrote with Noah Belson. Roth is known to me mainly for Cabin Fever and Hostel, but I know he recently did a movie Thanksgiving, which people said was pretty good. But then he followed that up with Borderlands, which I completely forgot that he directed that, which is shocking. So yeah, this film stars Ari Millen as the mysterious ice cream man alongside lots of other casts that I'm not going to bother naming. But Eli Roth does pop up as the dad in this movie. So before I get Phil's thoughts on this movie, I'm laughing already. Let's set up the basic premise. An idyllic summer town descends into madness when an ice cream man serves kids sweet delights with horrifying results. What were your thoughts coming out of this one? We saw this together and we couldn't actually speak after it. So why was that?
Yeah, actually, it's interesting because I earlier on today I saw a post on Reddit that had a that said, can you name a movie that left you speechless when the end credits went up? And then they meant it in a way of it was so good that you were just like, or on the process, like, no, I'm not gonna reply and say Ice Cream Man. I would like to say a quick shout out to the lovely people you know who you are who invited us to the premiere of this. I guess you could call it a movie. This was just, it was inappropriate. It was. I saw as someone mentioned in one of his previous movies about calling it mean-spirited, and I think that applies to this movie as well. Like, there's a movie like this with this premise needs to be fun. You've got to have fun with the goriness. The idea of it is, you know, if you've watched it in the trailer, you have seen the movie. There'll be maybe one or two small spoilers we'll do at the very end, but like, you've seen the trailer if you've seen the movie, and it's not funny. It's not fun. There's a couple of, okay, haha, look how, you know, the blood and guts, it's the kids doing it. But for the most part, it just felt like lazy. And yeah, it was just felt just, he was going for levels of gross rather than actually kind of your kind of edgy, dark comedy that you would expect from something with this concept. I didn't like at the end of it, like you said, as we were speechless. At the end, I was like, I don't even know what to say. Like, I don't, you know, everything from the behind the scenes stuff with the AI use and everything else. It was just a bizarre experience. I imagine if I'd seen this on my own, it could be one of the movies that I would walk out of, because it was just like, it just wasn't an enjoyable experience. And something like this, when it's basically funny, supposed to be funny comedy, horror slasher thing, you have to make it fun, and this just is not fun.
Yeah, I was right there with you. We didn't speak for just like a few minutes after it. We actually stayed to the end credits because I just actually couldn't stand up, because I probably would have just passed out on the floor. Didn't know what was happening. You you broke the silence after about a minute, where you just leaned over to me and said, like, and then nothing came out. Nothing out of your mouth. Just scrambling thoughts. As I say, it just could not articulate the thoughts into any coherent sentence to try and describe what we decide. Like, I thought this was abysmal. Like, we've reviewed pretty bad movies, even last week, Deep Water. It's just like, it's a bad movie, but I loved it. Lots of fun. This was an excruciating watch. Like, at one point, and we were in the front row, and it wasn't a packed cinema or anything, but it was premiere, and there was people beside us and the seat, and I had to discreetly like take out my phone because I had to check how long was left, because I was just I don't know if I'll make this, you know what I mean? The story is it's paper thin. It's a decent premise, but it runs out of steam after about 5 minutes. It's nonsensical. It's so repetitive, and not just like the kind of gore. And you see, we'll get into the kind of the practical stuffs about the gore, which is great. But it's repetitive. It's just over and over again. It's the same fucking thing. Like, the pacing is it's just sluggish. It's a long 86 minutes. Like, it's long. Like, the second act that takes place in the school is like, it's the longest 30 or 40 minutes. Like, the Odyssey was shorter than that second act. It was unbelievable. Characters are flat wooden, just annoying kids. you want to say underdeveloped, but you said you liked the main.
I said he wasn't that. I said he wasn't that bad compared to the rest, which is that's. I wouldn't exactly call that liking. Like I mean, what is it? That's supposed to be Charlie Zelser or whatever it is. But like, I
thought he was really bad. As the rest of them were just shockingly poor. I mean, the villain's just so generic. Like everything that works in the first, few minutes when they set up this kind of sun-drenched kind of suburban town, and it's the ice cream vans are kind of creepy anyway with the music, and he looks creepy, and it's really, I thought it was set up that it was really going down that 80s kind of retro feel because of the look of it and everything, but then it's not. It seems like it is, but everyone has smartphones, and it's just like, well, it just, everything seems like an afterthought, like it's just thrown together. And like Eli Roth, like he said in an interview that this has been a passion project he's wanted to make for 20 years. And people said, no, you can't make that. That's too crazy. People aren't ready for that. You can't make that, which is, I'm going to call it bullshit on that. I think he saw Weapons and saw the last fucking 3-4 minutes of that and went, oh, amazing. Let's do that.
Exactly.
Let's do 90 minutes of that. And it's just, it just doesn't work in any way, shape or form. It just completely falls apart, falls flat. And what I want to say about the cinematography, before we get into the acting and all that, that's cinematography. Initially, I was like, I liked the look of it because that kind of 80s retro look, but they had this kind of post-processed kind of film emulation kind of look where, there's kind of chromatic aberrations of like RGB splits on the edges of everything, and it looks kind of like this kind of fringing effect that it's like a physical flaw in cameras and stuff, but they're trying to go for that, and it's just like, ooh, that's kind of interesting. But then when they have modern phones, it's like, well, that doesn't make any fucking sense. And then visually the movie, that opening looks kind of okay, but then visually it's just flat kind of throughout, and that just straight away struck a chord where you're just going, it's all just kind of misguided. It's like it's just thrown together where they just made a movie and after the fact in the editing said, hold on, well, what if we just put on this kind of film emulation filter and try and make it look like the 70s? And just like, well, why don't you just make it like it was the fucking 70s? That would have been much cooler because all the kids seem like they're dressed. They're on bikes from the fucking 70s and 80s. It just... Yeah,
even their baseball outfits and gear look like they're like from older. The van, the ice cream van itself has that vibe of being an older movie. But like the whole stuff around him in general, like you called bullshit on him for that. Like you have to call bullshit on him for the use of AI. Like he lied about those cartoon sequences when he said he hand drew them himself, the 1920s style kind of. And then when he was called out on it, when people were like, "No, that's obviously AI," his like response, his backpedal was like, "Oh, I misspoke." How do you misspeak and say that you think when you literally hired what's it called, Dark Half Studio, who are a AI generated content, that's what they do. You hire them, to do the villain backstory sequence and all the cartoon, the phone loops that they keep seeing, all the touch ups for the gore, all of that was done by them. So you can't fucking act like you've gone for totally practical stuff here when you've brought in it's AI, an actual studio who focus mainly on AI. To do so much of the work. I mean, why not let animators just do those small pieces of the 1920 stuff? It's just weird. And then to lie and pretend you wrote it, you drew them yourself.
And it turns out a lot of the exposition and the backstory thing, a lot of that was done through AI as well. And even some like that whole scene, the whole
scene, the back scene, the whole thing was done with AI.
Yeah, and then it just makes no sense when you've gone to such efforts to. Like one of the movie's strengths, like if you even call it a strength, for the first few minutes anyway, before it gets repetitive and kind of boring, is the practical effects and these superhuman kids. When they're just chopping people, it's just there is something unnerving about the first kill where someone's just sawing off her mother's head with a hacksaw, and you're going, all right, we're going here, and it just really shows it, and it's it's tangibility of the whole fucking thing is just like, oh, it's horrendous. And then the dad gets his head fucking knocked in. You're kind of going, okay, at least give me that and just get the story, develop it in just enough to keep me going. And it'll be an enjoyable fucking silly ride. But there's nothing, the writing is just, it's so poor. It's not satirical. It's just fucking gross out. It's one joke told for fucking an hour and a half. It's unbelievable. And coming back to Eli Roth, like when he puts himself in the movie, and there's the worst thing about the movie for me is there's a dinner scene, and there's no gore, no nothing. It's like a dinner family setup scene to just set the family and give us an introduction to them. And Eli Roth is in it, like trying to do his acting again. And it just doesn't work. And it's just an excruciating, like 7 minutes of just like, it's just appalling. The smugness, it's just horrible. Everything about it is horrible. And Eli Roth is at the head of the table in that scene, delivering his dialogue.
That's one of the things I wanted to say to you, Daz, actually, is that like he kind of went for this improv kind of heavy kind of direction. You know, he'd really loose, and that's you can really feel that in the dialogue. There's almost a gap between each people's line as the next person decides to go, what would be a funny way to respond to this? Like it actually has an improv feel, but when you're not good at improv, and it just came across terrible and awkward. Like it just. That scene around the thing, I thought the kids, the teenager and the younger teenager, whatever, the 13-year-old and whatever, I think she's 16, 17, whatever, their little banter back and forth wasn't too bad. But for the most part, I 100% agree. That scene was absolutely painful because he's financing himself with his new, what is it called? Horror something, the horror section. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that, it's gone through that. I mean, you can get a lot more of this stuff past censors by just not having it rated or whatever, you know, but it just came across as him just jerking himself off. Like he seems like absolutely delighted with himself, putting himself in this piece of crap. It was just really the cherry on top by the end of it. Yeah, like I don't really know what I'm trying to think of, like praises. There's not really anything apart from, like you said, maybe the high concept Pied Piper kind of vibe to it.
That Children of the Corn kind of Monster Squad kind of vibes and all this.
Yeah,
it's just
and the practical effects. But like it's kind of it.
Yeah, the Ice Cream Man himself.
Yeah, like even him.
Like, he's doing his best, but he
just doesn't get. Yeah, he's no lines.
Yeah, no lines, and he is kind of creepy. But again, everything just runs out of steam. But the script gives him absolutely nothing. He just kind of smiles and walks around, hands out ice cream, and waves his hand, and just driving around. And it's just like he just does fucking nothing. And like the kids and the whole ice cream, the whole idea of the thing as well, it just doesn't make any sense. It's like, he gives kids ice cream, and then I kind of liked that whole idea. And you see it in the trailer. That's, again, the most interesting thing that kind of falls flat in the movie, where they have their ice cream, and then he drives around at night and triggers and awakens them. But like, all the kids wake up with ice in their beds at night with ice cream all over their mouth. Did no parent just wipe the ice cream from their mouth at all during the day?
It's
like, what?
It's literally there to let the idiot viewers know that these are the kids that are mental, and the ones that don't have ice cream on their face are the ones that still haven't been turned into, blood crazed zombies. It's like, we can probably figure out by the way they're acting like fucking monsters. I'd say the kids who haven't been turned are the ones that aren't chopping the adults into pieces and pulling their heads off and shit. Like, we probably got to work that out for ourselves. But even visually, like, as much as I'm saying, that a lot of the practical effects were great. Like, it's something you touch on a lot is like the lighting. Like, it was so flat. Everything was lit the same. Everything was lit the same. Just like that is, are they outdoors or are they indoors? Because it looks exactly the goddamn same. And then we've got this already great special effects, and then you add loads of digital, like blood onto that, like special effects, digital blood, and that just makes it look then like even lower budget. Like it makes it look like it makes it look like a complete older movie. As in older technology wise or something. When in the 90s, and we had this fucking fascination with adding in tons of CG blood. It just, you didn't need it. You were already doing great with the practical effects, and I don't get that. Daz, I was going to say to you about the script and the inappropriateness of the stuff that the kids were talking about. Like at one point, one of them goes, "I'm a 12-year-old girl. Of course I know how to make myself sick." That kind of stuff, and some of the sexualized banter that they have, the kids saying, and even near the very start when there's very slow motion thing of a kid licking an ice cream. It was just just kind of uneasy. It was like, why are we hovering over this young child doing this? But just the sexualized language and stuff, and why are we bringing bulimia and sexualized stuff into these children?
The whole thing with getting sick is just like, so preteen bulimia now is just totally okay to use for just a once-off gag. It just makes no sense. There's even questionable camera angles when the sister is paralyzed when she's trying to get to
Yeah,
it's just really low kind of shots, just like ass and
it's
cleavage,
following
just
her
like,
ass and stuff like that.
yeah.
But she's constantly do that. They do that with her. There's loads of
She's
shots of that from
incredibly
the very start that she
sexualized in
comes
this.
into it.
It's unbelievable.
And she's playing whatever. I don't know what age the actor is, but she's playing a 16, 17 year old.
She's like 19 or 20 or something. But that's like from
in real life. Okay,
from a 50-year-old director. It's just like, okay, like let's tone that down a little bit. But even in that scene with the sister when she's paralyzed, and it's like you said, we'll have a sequence where she's paralyzed in the bed. Her arms are paralyzed from the ice cream. She can't move, and she's got to come off the bed and make herself sick and stuff. I'm just like, but what are the rules around this ice cream? It's just like, sometimes kids eat it and they just turn within seconds. The first time, it's just like he has to drive around with the music. If a teenager, the sister eats it, just her arms get paralyzed. Just like, what's the fucking point of it? If you're going to go down that route, then expand that. Like, expand the story more than a fucking short story made into 90 minutes. Like, it's type of ice creams do different things to different people. You know, you could you could multi-layer this in ways that might make it a little bit more interesting. Yeah.
I think as well with that, like, you don't have to have a massively, with a movie like this where it's a just a all out fucking carnage, killing people, showing off special effects, blah blah blah. You don't really need a massively deep plot, and that's fine. If you look at, if you think of the Terrifier movies, the ones with art, those ones, it's 100% handcrafted practical CGI, and like it treats it like it is like dark comedy and stuff, and it doesn't rely on AI. They stay away from, for the most part, for any children getting hurt or being involved, and they kind of cross that line in the third one. But for the most part, it's set there to be fun, and it's not, and like I said at the start, mean spirited, and that's what it feels like here. Like, there's no practical artistry is taken away when you're just giving these child actors cheap, sexualized and otherwise inappropriate dialogue. Are you just going for the shock value? It's like, you can still have your super gory movie if you wanted. People do like it. I mean, we had the boom of torture porn in the mid 2000s. It's not a thing. You don't have to get, but it's just, when it comes into this, you're not getting the fun vibe, and not just that, you're gone off the other end of it by making it just mean and unnecessary, which really bothered me.
And it's just, there's not enough in here for any 6-minute movie. Like, that's the movie just completely, like, for whatever it was doing in the first 10 minutes, whatever, it's kind of mildly entertaining in the setup, and you're going, where is it going? And then it's just when it gets to the school sequence, it's like the second act of the movie is all filler. It's just like everything just stops. It's rinse and repeat of like 3 kids trapped in a room. Or they get out of the room. They look down the hallway. The kids are killing another teacher in a gruesome way. They run away. They get trapped in another room. They get out of that other room. They look down again. Oh, there's another kill, and it's just, and outside there's another fucking kill where somebody slices a teacher's head off and scoops his brains out. Not once do any of the adults do anything to try and stop these little fucking.
Well, there's only one police officer in the entire town. So
it's so kind of like this. It's just so weak. It's just like. It's just, it literally is, he saw weapons and said, I'll make that for an hour and a half. And it just, that kind of stuff works in Weapons, the end of Weapons, because it's cool. And it's like, Jesus Christ, that's intense. And imagine that kids, fucking taking over and trying to fucking chase you and stuff. It just doesn't work beyond 5 minutes. It's certainly not fucking 90 minutes. Okay, so let's give it a star rating if you can, Philly.
Yeah, I don't know. I like half a star, like, because it's not like I would. Like we said, I think I gave last week's one like 1.5 because of the script and all the rest of it is, but it's still a lot of fun to watch, and something you would watch it. The experience of it is so ridiculous, and how serious Deepwater took itself. It's definitely worth a watch. With this, I don't know, anybody should watch it. I don't think because of the AI used for Eli Roth being a dickhead, for the sexualization, exploitation of children, the fact that this has a paper thin plot, if you want to call it that. The actors aren't great. The script's terrible. Like the lighting is muck. Like, it's just half a star that goes to the practical effects team for some of the work that they did that ended up getting glossed over with a bunch of CGI blood. So yeah, half a star. This is really poor.
I'd give it half a star just for some of the kind of practical effects. Like, I had a pretty decent premise and memorable setting. practical gore and all this kind of stuff. But what we're left is, as you said, just repetitive, boring, mean-spirited. The use of AI and everything just is such a turn off, and it mistakes kind of shock value for storytelling. And it's not just disappointing. I think it's one of the worst films I've seen in the cinema. And one of my friends, Charlene, actually texted me afterwards and said she felt like she needed a shower after watching it. So it's just like, that's exactly on point. We'd love to be able to recommend 1.5, 2-star movies to people just to look at the utter buffoonery on show. But this one is just exhausting, and it's kind of embarrassing and excruciating. So we will leave it there because I don't want to talk about it anymore. All right. Thanks everyone for liking, subscribing, sharing, and all that other jazz. And we'll be back next week with hopefully, and it has to be, a better movie. Take it easy. Take care of yourself. See you later.